It's a competition that you win 5 matches, you can be a Nedbank champion. So definitely it does afford a bit of relief from the league. It does allow us an opportunity to play against the best team in the country for a cup competition. Obviously, the mindset going into it is, we have to be positive, up against a lot, against a quality team, quality players, good form, unbeaten in the league, really good at home. But we should not believe that we're going to make all the effort to go to Pretoria without believing we can get a result. So our mindset has to be one of belief. We know what we have to do to get a result against Sundowns. We have to play to our full potential. So we're looking forward to it. I think it's a nice team to play against. Not many people are expecting us to get a result. So, all the pressure will be on Sundowns and not us. So, we can go there and we can hopefully play with some courage, some bravery, some freedom. And at the same time, try and nullify the threats that they have all over the park.
Thank you, Coach. Let's go to Zahir.
Good afternoon, Coach. Like you said, going to Pretoria, very much as the underdogs. Does that tag suit you? That in terms of playing with the freedom and being able to express yourselves and throughout the season, you've played very well. Just the final strike or pass is not going according to plan. That must give you confidence that you can go out there and go toe to toe with a side like Sundowns.
Most definitely, Zahir. I think, just going through, some of the metrics and attacking and the stats that we get from Instat and those type of things, it does definitely show that we're doing well in many aspects, whether it's chances created, whether it's dribbles, whether it's key passes. We're up there in the top 5 in the league in all those metrics. But yes, what is missing is just that final sort of, goal that we require. Just looking at the log table, unfortunately, some people say the log table doesn't lie. But we know that we are better than what the log table has shown. We've played consistently better than what the log table shows. In my opinion, out of the 14 games, there's only been maybe 1.5 games where I felt we were totally outplayed and didn't do ourselves any justice. But besides that, I felt that we were in every other game. So we've shown that we are competitive. We have shown that if we do play to our full potential and we do start taking our chances, we have every opportunity to win any football match that we are in. And what we are disappointed also in is also some of the soft goals that we've given away. If you analyze some of the goals we've scored this season have been really, really good goals. Created well from open play, from build-up, but unfortunately the goals we've conceded, have been largely through our own sort of decision-making, poor judgment, mistakes. So that's an area that we have to be on our toes. We can't afford that against a good team like Sundowns. But yes, I do believe we can do well against Sundowns. It is a cup competition. It's known for giant-killing acts. That's what the Nedbank's about. Unfortunately, we don't have the SAFA teams, but us beating Sundowns, I'm sure will go down as a giant-killing act, and that's what this cup's about. It's what gives us hope. It's what gives us dreams. We also dream of lifting the trophy, and you have to beat the best teams at some stage during the competition, and why not in the first round?
Thank you, Coach. Let's go to Rob.
Coach Rob, hope you're well. Coach,
yes, I am, Rob.
Coach, normally when you would enter the round of 32 after a heavy schedule in January, it would be a chance to give some of the fringe players a run. But when you're facing a team like Sundowns, how do you approach the game? And just secondly, will Nathan be back?
Yes, Rob, it does. Sometimes the cup does afford you that opportunity, but it is against Sundowns. And we also only play our next league game in 10 days' time. So, if we were playing perhaps a league game on the weekend, we do have some players on 3 yellows. We would maybe think of it differently, back-to-back games in 3 days. But I think there's enough time for us to recover after the Sundowns game before our next league game. And we want to do well. I think one of the targets we set ourselves out at the beginning of the season was to do well in the cup competition. And we still have that ambition. So, we want to put out what we believe is the best squad that can do the job against Sundowns. But yes, there is opportunity for one or two fringe players that deserve an opportunity to get a run. And yes, Nathan is over his suspension, so Nathan will be available for the match.
Mark Gleeson.
Steve, the great search of any coach is to find a good goal-scoring striker, and there was quite a bit of excitement with the Argentinian and the Nigerian that you signed this season. But what's the jury now on them after a few months, particularly given how Dingba missed against Kaizer Chiefs? We can see his natural pace, and Mendieta doesn't seem to get past the first challenge. What's the jury on those two guys?
Mark, I think starting with Stanley, I think he scored 3 goals for us this season. He's also had assists. So I think he's played his part. Obviously the goal and the chance against Chiefs he did not take, but I think he's been integral in our attacking play. The data shows that his expected goals is the highest in the team currently, as well as assists. So, one mustn't sort of lose the fact that he also only played football in sort of February of last year throughout the lockdown. So he had been 7-8 months without playing regularly. And as we all know, it takes foreigners a while to settle in. That first 6 months is never, they don't just start up and running. I mean, if you even look at quality players like Sereno and that, it took them a while to get going. So, yeah, we're confident that Stanley he will do well for us and continue to provide and score goals for us as well as assists. With Mendieta, he is a class player. He is quality. Unfortunately, he's just had a really horrid season in terms of knocks and niggles, and just hasn't got the momentum going. When he did arrive and he was sharp, he scored on debut and created opportunities for us in other games where we scored. He came on for 20 minutes against Celtic and created 4 chances for us. But yeah, unfortunately, he's had niggles and knocks and just hasn't had the opportunity to have a good run. So yeah, we're also very confident that when he is up and running and he's fully fit and gets games under the belt, he will be a real quality addition to our squad who will add huge value.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Charles Baloy, you had a question? Charles, are you there? Okay, I'll move on to Nick.
Hi, Steve. I just have a bit more of a general question about the lack of fans in stadiums. Do you think the players are now, so now that we're sort of 6 months on from the restart in August, that players are more used to it? Does it still affect players at all? Does it still feel a bit like training games, or is everybody kind of over that now and moved on to the new normal?
It's a difficult question to answer. I think I say that because I don't have a clear-cut answer for you. Just my gut feel is telling me that, the players have sort of become sort of accustomed to it. Without the fans, I think you don't hear them speak about it as much as, for example, in the beginning when we went into the bubble and we couldn't have fans. I think it's that acceptance has taken its part. But at the same time, I think, sport is entertainment. Footballers are entertainers. They work hard every single day at training and really, get themselves into positions to play games and want to showcase their ability and skills and that in front of fans. And it's different, knowing fans are watching at home on TV as to having the fans at the stadium. We've now gone many seasons at Stellenbosch without a real home ground. We were very sort of excited to have secured Donny Craven as a home venue, and we knew that we would be able to draw good crowds. We were aiming to be in the top 4 or 5 teams in the country in terms of crowd attendance. I think, we can do what Maritzburg were doing on a Friday evening. And we were looking forward to having those sort of supporters behind the team. We've got some, local players in the team. So definitely, I do think in the back of their mind, the players do miss the fans and would love to be playing in front of fans. But there is a degree of acceptance, especially when you don't really know when, we sort of all looking at it's most likely going to be next season. Hopefully, cross our fingers that at least by then we can have the fans back. So, yeah, difficult question. It's a bit of both. There's acceptance, but there's also a longing, to be playing in front of the supporters.
Thank you.
Okay. Robin Duke.
Coach, I just wanted to check here. You got an experience of this competition. I remember in 2009 with the University of Pretoria, you reached a final, then you lost to Swallows. Have you shared your experience with the players? And also, I was checking out your record earlier against Mamelodi Sundowns. It doesn't look very good, and you haven't won the last 5 games. Doesn't that work against you, Coach?
I don't think so, because I think anywhere in life, things do change and runs do come to an end. And they say that you due a result eventually. We due a big performance against Sundowns. I think last season on 2 occasions, we really played well against them. There was an occasion at Athlone where we lost 1-0, but I felt that we were really well within the game and could have got more out of the game. And we also played them at Loftus last season, where we got an unfortunate red card, a penalty that was given for a dive in the box, which led to them ultimately winning. But even in that game, I felt we were unlucky. We took them to the wire. We caused them many problems. So, yes, the record doesn't read well, but there is a belief that we can get a win. It is a cup game. There's nothing to lose. It is well known that the cup, as I said earlier, is a giant killing sort of cup, where sometimes these situations are set up for teams like us to get past Sundowns. But, in saying that, Sundowns are playing really well. They're unbeaten in the league. They've scored 24 odd goals between the front 3. They've got 17 goals. They're able to sign a player like Rasheen de Rijk to join them. They're a very formidable team, quality, depth, all round, playing at home. So it's one of those games where it's either going to be a big upset and we're going to really give a good account of ourselves. But if we don't play well and we allow them the time and the space, it can also become a very difficult day, like Chip experienced yesterday. We've got to avoid that at all costs by making sure we pitch for the game and we play really well.
Okay, Stevlin.
Hi, Coach. Just an update on Solly as well as Mendieta, injury-wise. And then, as far as I know, you do not have a transfer ban. So, and especially looking at your squad, will you be going into the market? Or, 15th of June is around 15th of Feb is around the corner.
Yes, just to answer your first question, Solly is basically integrating back in team training. He trained again today with the squad. So he is showing sort of improvement. We're targeting him to be available for our TTM match. We don't want to rush him. He's had some big injuries in the past, so we need to strengthen him. We need to make sure that we get him strong. He should be available by the TTM match. Mendieta is also integrating back in training. We're looking for him to be, 90-minute match ready and fit for the Arrows match. He may be part of the squad for the Sundowns with a view of maybe getting a couple of minutes. Both players, we're targeting Arrows for Mendieta and TTM for Solly to be back. And it would be good for us to have a full squad available. We do have a small squad of only 24 players, which includes 3 goalkeepers. So when we do have injuries, it does stretch our resources in terms of player availability. We just have to be really wise in bringing them back, making sure that they don't break down again. to answer your second question, Stephen, as a rule, we're not a club that want to just go out in the transfer window and get people for the sake of solving certain problems that we believe we within ourselves and working hard at certain things we can solve within. But at the same time, I've always maintained that every window allows a club to strengthen your squad. So if the right player and the right opportunity and the right circumstance was made available, we would look at it. But it's not that we are sort of, making a concerted effort. We believe in the players that we have. We do have a young striking force in terms of Ashley Dupré and Leletu Skellam, amongst Soli and Kunyedi. Short-term gains and short-term buying players to change things, I don't think is the answer. I do see them as the future of this club. I do see them later on in their football career being amongst the top goal scorers in the league. They're just lacking the experience and maturity right now and the composure at times, which comes with the lack of experience. But if you don't play them and you don't believe in them and don't give them the opportunity, you just delay that experience and gaining that maturity. So we have trust in them and what they can do and will achieve. So hopefully that answers your question. It's not a no that we won't bring anyone in, but at the same time, it's not as if we are panicking and needing to go out in the market to look at that situation.
Karabo?
Thank you once again Coach.
Yes.
You've partly answered the one in terms of any possibility of incomings, and are you worried about the outgoings? Well, obviously we've seen Sundowns, they're blowing everyone in the market in terms of the latest signing, Rushin. Are you not worried that the duo that you just named now, there might be, other big teams circling in and around them? And secondly, Coach, you've already said you've played 14 games. What is your report card in terms of the first half of the season? Are you happy? Do you think you would have gotten more points? Or are you just, satisfied with what's reported? And I think you're on, 15 or 18 points. Are you happy with how far you've come this season in terms of the first half of the season? Thank you.
Yeah, I think just to answer your second question, I think we disappointed in terms of our points tally. We believe strongly that we've in many occasions and certain situations that we handle better. We should have been in a better position. I think the type of football we're playing, we have definitely improved as a squad from last season this time. But in saying that, there are certain things that we have to correct immediately to ensure, even just a single match against Arrows, our next league game, becomes a crucial game. If you win that, you're on 18, after 15 games, it sets you up the foundation to then push on to the 36-40 mark is there. If you don't win the game and you're on 15, then conversely, you then have to be looking behind you at teams below you. So there's fine margins. We generally are happy with the progress of the team. It's just now finding ways, just from a technical and tactical point, to convert a lot of the good performances into 3-pointers and not draws and 1 or 2 draws that we should have won the match. So we're aware of where we're at and what we need to achieve, and we're working hard at it. On the second part, obviously, there's always a risk of players doing well in your club that people will be, looking out for them. Myself as a coach, us as a club, we've always maintained the stance that, if players are doing well enough and deserve an opportunity, elsewhere, whether it be a perceived bigger club or in Europe, we will provide them those opportunities. But at the same time, all our young players are secured on long-term contracts. And I believe that there's still a lot of work to be done for them individually and at this club before, there's any sort of thoughts or entertaining of them moving anywhere. So we have our own ambitions as a club. We want to also be a club that's competing at the upper end of the league. We have a plan and a strategy in place for that in the coming years. And some of those players will be integral part of us getting to there. So it's just really a good balance of not losing your best players and that compromises you. but at the same time also providing opportunity, you know, for our players, which is also part of our club strategy.
Okay, last two questions, starting with Mark Gleason.
Steve, just going back to Robin's question about 2009, is there any little secret to a giant killing run? I mean, how did you, was it with Amatux, did you just ride the wave, or did you engineer a couple of things along the way? Can you give us a bit of a recipe?
Mark, you know, in those days we had the preliminary round. We were in the NFD. Obviously, we played the name of the team, Blackburn, in East London, and we were very fortunate to come away with a win in that game. It went to extra time, and we won it 3-2. So, firstly, no one sort of knows, and then from there, we obviously had the great run in terms of beating Chiefs, beating Celtic, beating Ajax, and then ultimately failing in the final. But we also had a really good squad. Players have gone on to achieve really greater things and played in Europe. So we had a good squad, young, energetic, nothing to lose. There was a no fear attitude about the team, and I think we also just rode the momentum. Every time you win a game, and there's just more belief. There's just we just really. Part of it was riding the wave. Part of it was having a really good squad. A little bit of luck was involved. And yeah, it was just, something special in my career to have been part of, and a lot of the players being part of it. And one yearns for that same sort of situation to occur again. And every year you've got that hope and that dream. I mean, all 32 teams are wanting to win the Nedbank Cup. So are we. We probably have the biggest challenge of all this coming Wednesday. But we've, as I said, why not go there and cause a big upset and showcase what we can do, and we are brewing, and there's something special, and we're on the cusp of some special things. You can quote me on this in a couple of weeks, months time, but we will at some stage surprise many teams with big performances and put teams to bed. But we just got to keep believing that we can do it and working towards it.
Okay, last question, Rob.
Coach, could you just speak a little bit about the importance of someone like Alan Robertson and just how much he's improved as a player under you? I know he had a lot of critics in his early days at Tuks and at AmaZulu, but he's put in some real man-of-the-match performances this season.
Yes, Rob, I think, sometimes some players are never as fortunate as others and are born with just natural ability and natural talent, and he's had to work for everything that he's achieving today. And sometimes it takes longer than other times to sort of reach that potential and get the penny to drop. So, Alan, I'm very fond of because of his commitment, his attitude, his work ethic. He's a South African international, played at under 17 level, went overseas, spent 3 to 4 years playing in an academy there. So, he's got a really, really good football intelligence about him. He's technically very gifted. Maybe what was lacking was just, maybe his physique, his physical output. But he made a decision to himself that he would just outwork everybody at training, do the extra, invest in his body through training, nutrition, and he's reaping the rewards thereof. I think, in my opinion, he's been one of our most consistent performers in the bubble last season as well as this season. He's ranking amongst the top defenders in the league and in many defensive actions. The credit just goes. And the good thing about him is also off the field, he's a leader. He participates in discussions. He's got an open mind. He watches all our games. He watches his performance. He gives feedback at training. So he's a vice captain of the club currently, together with Lee Langenveld. Credit to him for, what another stat, what not many people are aware of, he's the most capped Stellenbosch footballer at the club. So credit to him, and long may it continue.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach. We're gonna end it there.